Hello everyone, you guys are welcome to another of my review. In today's review, I will be looking at the Sony 50 f1.2, and I've had this lens for more than 6 months right now, and this is my long-term review. I already have a review on this lens on my YouTube channel, and that's about the unboxing and my first impression of this lens. But since then, which is beyond 6 months right now, I've used this lens extensively, like in photos and videos. I've used this lens. Like, I'm actually using this lens before I kind of switched to my other lens. For most of the photo shoot that I've done in the last six months, I've used this lens as well. And for video, I've used this lens as well. And so today is just for me to share my experience of using this lens, the pros and the cons of this lens, the overall performance of this lens, who this lens is for, the price, and whether I should buy this lens or not. So these are the things I'll be looking out for today. Now, this channel is all about photography and video. Anything relating to photography and video, we talk about photo editing. I do some tutorials on editing. I also talk about how you can turn your passion into profit, talk about some business. I review some lens and gears like I'm doing today. I'm reviewing a lens. So if any of those things interest you, please subscribe to this channel. And if you like any of my content, I would like you to smash the like button as well. So let's dive deep into today's review of the Sony 50 f1.2. The first thing I want to talk about in terms of this lens is that this lens is well built. I mean, this lens is all metal and it feels solidly. When you're holding this lens, you feel like you're holding a premium lens in your hand. It is also weather sealed as well. So it's a beautiful lens in terms of the build quality, the handling. Paired it with my Sony a7 IV, Sony a7R4, and also my Sony a7S3 has been, it feels good in your hand and it's balanced well for me. So I just love the handling of this lens and the way it feels in my hands. That's the first thing. I mean, the second thing I want to discuss about this lens is in terms of the autofocus performance. This lens is very fast. Like, the autofocus, once it locks on the eye of my subject, it just doesn't lose focus. Even when you're shooting in a pitch black, once you find the eyes, it will just somehow find the eyes. It's just beautiful. The reason why you buy this lens is because of the 1.2 aperture, and that is the widest even in the Sony E-mount lenses. And so this lens lives up to that, to its billing, because it just locks on, and every single time is very reliable. Like, I know if I need a lens that I know will be absolutely reliable in dark condition, in bright condition, whatever it is, this lens is the one I look out for. Now, so that's one. The second thing, the third thing I want to talk about is the sharpness of this lens. This lens, when it produces images, they are tech sharp, and they are just very sharp. That could be a good thing, but also be a bad thing sometimes, because if you have a good makeup and somebody with a good skin, obviously everything will come very clean and beautiful. Sometimes if you have somebody with a very odd spot on their face, it will kind of show up everything as well, which may not be an ideal thing, and you end up editing a lot, spend some time editing. So, but overall, it's a joy to use, and the sharpness is just up there. The next thing is the bokeh that this lens, and the smoothness, the background smoothness that this lens offer at f1.2. I mean, when you shoot, anytime I just use this lens at that f1.2, it's a joy. Like, you look at it, you zoom in, everything is just smooth, creaming, and looking beautiful. With the video as well, it's just a joy to use. Like, I was in a place recently and I don't want to show the background. I just put at f1.2, the whole background is blurred away, and it's just beautiful. It looks beautiful, and it just isolates your object, and it gives them this pop, like a 3D pop as well. It's just a beauty using it at f1.2, and I just love it. And when you see the image on the computer, it just looks even so amazing. I mean, another thing I love about this lens itself is that it produces amazing color. The color and the contrast, they are punchy colors, and it's very contrasty as well. So the images coming straight out of the camera from with this lens is just gonna be beautiful. You love them. And that is one thing also I love about this lens, that sometimes I don't even need to do any kind of form of editing on the images, because they're looking beautiful already straight from the camera, because of the effect of of this lens on that. So I just love pairing this lens with any of my camera, and it has been my go-to in the last 6 months beyond. I use it for portrait, I use it for my videos, I use it for project, I use it for everything I'm doing, because it's just that good and it's just that reliable. But also, for every good thing there might be some pros and cons. So what are the things that I feel like probably needs to be improved, or something that you might need to know before you buy this lens? I think one important thing to note about this lens is, I think the greatest issue that people talk about is the price point. This lens is around, at this point, is still around $2,000. I mean, around more like £2,000 as well. It's so expensive, and that's why a lot of people, it's probably out of budget. A lot of people, but for what this lens does and for what it produces, and I mean, I know it's expensive. It took me nearly 2 years to be able to buy it, and I also had to sell like 3 lenses, I think, to be able to buy this lens as well. So for me, I just knew that I needed something like this, and I went for it, and I've never regretted the option, right, of having this lens. I used to have a Zeiss 55 f1.8 that's below £1,000, and so if you're considering, if you're thinking this one is too expensive, you can buy the Zeiss. It's a tiny lens like this, but it produces good images as well. I'm sharing images of that I've gotten from this lens f1.2 of the Sony, and also maybe 1 or 2 from the Zeiss as well, and throughout this video, as you guys can see as we go along. Every image is just beautiful. Even if you look at the raw file from this Sony 50 f1.2, they are beautiful. The edited images, obviously, as a result of the raw file, they're also looking beautiful. I just love using it as a present. So apart from the price, I think the other issue that people talk about is the focus breeding, and that's when you're doing some focus racking, you're moving from one person to the other. It will show, the effect that you're moving, and you can see at the edge that something is shifting. For me, I have the Sony a7 IV as well, which has this, what we call the focus breeding composition section on the camera. So I don't know how you really have to see that, and so if I need to protect against that, I will use my Sony a7 IV. But so for me, the only issue was the price that people talk about, but eventually I saw the value in it, and I've enjoyed it, and I've never regretted it, because it has worked for me in every project that I've used, and I've used it extensively. Like it's my workhorse right now. So I will highly recommend this lens if you can afford it, right? But this should not be, if you're just starting off and you're just trying to gather money and trying to save up money, I don't think this lens you should buy. This is a lens for the pro people who are probably making money out of your stuff already, and they're already, so. But if you can afford it, and you don't care about the price, then there are absolutely, this is a 4.8/5 for me for this lens, in terms of performance, in terms of rendering, in terms of the quality of the images, in terms of the autofocus, and in terms of the build quality as well. This lens is amazing. That is my review today. If you like this video, please smash that like button for me, and I'll see you guys in my next review. Bye bye.